Hey guys, this tutorial is a little different. I've been getting some questions about drawing. And as most of you know, drawing is a critical part of learning any 2D visual art medium. I paint mostly in watercolor, and so because watercolor paint is transparent and you can't just glob layers of thick paint over the top to correct any errors, it's essential to have an accurate sketch. Now, if you're not confident with your drawing skills, this video is meant to be a helpful guide for drawing something accurately from a reference photo, in this case, a wolf. In the video, I'll be drawing directly onto my watercolor paper, but if you anticipate doing a lot of erasing and corrections, it might be a good idea to do your drawing first on a separate piece of paper, and then trace or transfer the finished drawing to your watercolor paper. Let's get started. So I've taped the edges of my watercolor paper so that I have an 8 by 10 inch rectangle. This makes for easier framing. My image has also been cropped to 8 by 10 inches. Having matching outer dimensions is so helpful when you're drawing from a photo because you can compare distances much easier. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. The first shape I'm looking at is this edge where the left side of the head is widest and curves down. The bottom edge of the wolf is roughly a third of the way across the paper. Next, I'm looking at the left ear and trying to judge its size and placement compared to the corner of the paper. I sketch very lightly. Now, this is important for two reasons. If I make a mistake, it's easy to erase, and I want to be careful not to leave any indents in the watercolor paper, which could cause paint to pool in those areas. With the left edge defined, I'm now drawing the shape of the face. There is a distinct triangulation that occurs between the two ears and the muzzle. So you can start by lightly sketching this triangle shape and then defining more details based on that initial shape. I add a curved line indicating the top of the head. It should come up slightly higher than the tips of those ears. Try to make an accurate assessment of how far up from the bottom of the page the mouth begins. Another thing I notice is that the distance between the two ears is about the same length as the tip of the right ear to the far right edge of the paper. Now try to make your ears the same size. You can see initially I made the right ear a little bigger than the left. I'm careful not to draw too much detail along the edge of the fur, since most of this will be done with paint. I just include pertinent information, like the location of darker shapes within the fur. I sketch on the nose. I'm still not fully committing to any of my lines. Anything I draw is still subject to change and adjustment. I put down this light horizontal mark to show the halfway point in the center of the face. From there, I can more accurately judge the location of those two eyes. Now, really quick, if you guys are finding this video helpful, leave me a like and a comment. This really helps boost my content so I can continue to post great free tutorials like this one. Thank you so much. So while I lightly sketch those eyes, I need to be careful that they are the right size. And I'm also comparing their location to the tilt of the ears and the distance from eyes to nose. My first attempt at drawing the left eye was off, so I erase and adjust. I move the right eye slightly to the right. It's crazy how when you're off by just a few millimeters, it can look all wrong. Once you're happy with the proportions, you can go back in and start to tighten up the shapes. I add markings to show the distinctive fur pattern on the face, particularly around the eyes. I make the shape of the ears more exact and add the rim around the ear and angled stripe indicating the dark inner ear. I do the same for the right ear. This is important to include in the drawing because these are areas of strong contrast and also areas that are going to be white. With watercolor, you always have to plan ahead for your whites. I make the eyebrows more distinctive and the circular shape of the eyes more tightly accurate. I'm also including the pupil. I want to make sure the gaze of the wolf is spot on. He needs to be looking right at us, not cross-eyed or anything. And since the face is the focal point, don't be afraid to add important details here, even in the initial sketch. It's a lot easier to correct your drawing than it is to try and fix the drawing with paint later. Really take your time with the sketch and it will pay off for your finished result. When you're drawing the nostrils, just like with the eyes and ears, you want them to be the same size and on the same plane. We're going for symmetry here. I'm going to add a few more fur details, and with that, I think I'm ready to start painting. I'm going to show you guys a quick time lapse of this one. Altogether, the painting took about 2 hours. If you are interested in seeing this watercolor tutorial in real time, it is available when you become a member of my online school. I'll leave a link in the description where you can check out all the available tutorials, and I add new content every month.